Is piss a cuss?
I don't know if piss is a cuss.
Is piss a cuss?
The way I was raised, yes.
Piss is a cuss?
Yeah.
I don't think I learned piss until I could cuss.
And it's just pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just pee.
But pee
It's
sounds
also
like,
golden.
Like piss sounds like the scientific word for it, and pee is just like the nice way of saying piss. See, poo-pee makes it sound like there's pee-pee involved in the poo-poo.
Piss.
Which I know as humans, do you always pee-pee when you poo-poo? Don't you?
Let's not whisper the word poo-poo because that makes it sound creepy.
Do you always pee-pee when you poo-poo? Always?
It kind of makes the back of my head kind of thump a little bit.
See, hold on.
Whisper poo-poo?
I've trained my body to separate the two functions.
Pee-pee.
So I can poo-poo and not pee-pee.
Pee-pee.
Well, then I will... Then I'll make a poo-poo corner.
Don't!
No!
I'm not... Be danged with the consequences. I don't care. Call the cops.
Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland, and be amazed as Abracadabro makes a shitty beer disappear.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and it's your fault and mine.
I'm Marcus, the synthetic life form known as I Am Electric Man.
I'm Austin Tiny Zent, and do you hear where those voices are coming from?
Well, I know where our voices are coming from in the podcast Nerd It Through the Grapevine, where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. Last week, if you had tuned in, talked about me some Doctor Strange, because love me some Strange. And the movie that recently came out, Multiverse of Madness, involved a lot of Doctor Strange. Some would say the whole movie was about him.
It was like his sequel movie or something.
It was almost like it. But there was a part of that conversation I wanted to get into that I didn't get to completely go into because we have four people here, and I like to keep this as close to an hour as we can. And that is just magic in general, mainly in a comic book setting. And in comics, the horror genre of comics is kind of where the magic stuff introduced itself. Pretty much, because there's a lot of spooky involved with magic because of so much mystery behind it. Mm-hmm. And depending on what's using it and like who it's being used on and where it's being drawn from, a lot of times that's a really spooky thing. So I had no idea that horror comics are kind of the ones that introduced that. But that's also like a little bit after that is whenever the Comics Code Authority started being a stupid thing and deciding that like you can't have magic coming from demons and stuff, or it's gonna make all of our children demon magic users, and they just kind of ruined it for a while.
You can't have cool things.
You can't have cool things because we said so, and we have no idea what's cool and what's not. Something cool about magic in comics is if you want a character with cool powers, just say they can use magic and figure it out later, because they can do a bunch of cool stuff for a long time before you decide, here's where it comes from. And that's, I think, how a lot of magic using characters have been in the past, because like origins keep changing and evolving as a character goes. And sometimes even in the same storyline, a character can keep finding out more things about where they're drawing their power from. And that's something also really cool about magic is, I mean, it's super fictitious, so they can just kind of make whatever they want to with it.
Well, in a lot of different lores, like the source upon which you draw to perform your magic kind of defines it. Like it's a difference between like sorcery or some sort of like holy magic or something like that traditionally in different systems and stuff.
They've got some different lineages as far as like what they have in Marvel movies, like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Mm-hmm. The last scene of, I don't know if it was the first one or if it was like a cut scene after the end of the second one, because I remember the last part of the movie was the Rhino with him, but I think there was a cut scene as well of somebody talking. There was a brief span in the Marvel comics where Spider-Man actually had mysticism and the magic side of stuff tied into his origin as to why he became Spider-Man. And that's some of the stuff that his parents were researching when they were killed.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's had magic?
Yeah.
Wait.
Well,
missed
technically,
something.
even without that, he had magic because very loosely defined, magic is something that the ordinary person can't do, correct?
Well, that would describe more of like the occult, which is knowledge of the hidden or the paranormal. Like it's hidden. It's a knowledge that no one really knows anything about, and crazy stuff can come from it.
Well, I mean,
But
because
still, that could include the X-Men, for instance, because
no, that is scientific because that's genetic. That's genetic mutation.
Genetic mutations.
But that's also
it's
that's how it's
kinda borderline.
explained. No, because that's how it's explained. If it were
I
explained
understand
to
that.
us, because of course it's crazy, comic book. It's comic book magic, no matter what. But in the sense of what they consider magic in comics, the X-Men would not be magical because it is genetic. It's scientific genetic mutation that's happened within them to make them be able to do what they do. Right?
But their source of their powers are their genetics.
Yeah.
They have a source that they're
Right.
drawing from
It's-
to use said power or ability. I consider it magic.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
I would,
have to.
I would too. But I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of borderline of what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
right,
I just wanted to throw that in.
Well, and these distinctions are why these two genres, or like science fiction and fantasy, are on the same shelf in the bookstore. It's literally just how you choose to hand wave it.
Right.
It's because it's Arthur C. Clarke. His laws of magic were anything indistinguishable from magic, any sufficient technology that we can't understand, like you
Yeah.
were saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's you can portray it however you like.
Right. And
It's
that,
magic.
that thin line you talk about is something that's super cool about magic as well, because when you're looking at, because I consider it almost with a bunch of the powers and stuff in comics, it's like magic versus technology versus like science and math, it's these different categories of how all these abilities are coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And magic is the one where there's the fine line, that weird, at what point is this magic and what point is it just made up describing of how it works. But with technology, that's not really a thing. You can see the mechanics and the wires and all that stuff, it's electricity and code. But with magic, it's not as simple as here's the code, there's the source code to it.
Right, but then even the deeper you go, the more mystical and magical it becomes. Say in the Marvel universe, a celestial. At that point, it kind of transcends even this argument. It's both magical and technological.
Yes.
It's so sufficiently advanced that it's indistinguishable.
Oh yeah,
completely. It's all just a wave of the hand. It's because Thor used to have this hammer, therefore it's magic.
yes,
However you want to wave the hand of it.
And-
I don't know. I just thought to reiterate
I'm
that
gonna
same
try
point.
something.
yeah.
Tiny White.
I just had to wave my hand and see what would happen.
Magic. That tasted terrible.
I'm gonna wave the other way now.
Okay, thank you. And Ghost Rider is kind of the first hero with a magic from a questionable source, at least as far as I could find. Because at first it was described as more of this demon gave these abilities, to
Deal with the devil.
Ghost Rider. Right. But then it was changed to a fallen angel, not in the sense of a demon, like a fallen angel or whatever, but an actual, still an angel, gave him these abilities, and he's fighting vengeance for heaven almost.
Yeah.
Because they decided this is too spooky and evil and stuff, so we need to make it an angel instead of a demon. Even though he's got a flaming skull,
Right.
and
He's still just the vengeance of that
exactly.
organization.
What you need to watch for the perfect representation of it is going to be the Rotten Tomatoes recommended 16% movie, Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Because that's what they did in that movie. They focused on the story of why he was blessed by an angel instead of touched by the devil.
I mean, that makes sense. It really does.
It makes perfect
But
sense.
Mom, why is it so much cooler the other way?
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's cooler. The cooler path is the path you need to choose, Marcus.
But Mom, what about Spawn?
You been reading that Todd Mcfarlane?
Mom.
You better not have been reading none of that Todd McFarlane.
Mom, I would never do that, Mom.
I can't, but honey, he's been reading.
Gene, and I'm about to give my boy a whipping.
Now, Gene, take it easy on the boy. He's just been reading a little bit of that Todd McFarlane.
What are you doing to my mattress, Mom? Don't look under there.
I tried to think of the types of magic in the comics that I could categorize kind of as I was looking through things, and this is definitely not a complete list of magics and style of magic whatsoever. I just wanted to check and see if I could categorize them in ways that kind of make sense to me. And that, I'm going to run down the list just super quick. Sorcery, witchcraft, occult, deity, artifact, worded spells, like spoken spells.
Naming,
that kind of thing. Names.
Like spell books.
Spell books, yeah. Having to say the words, like the words have to be repeated. Elemental and incomprehensible. Yeah. Like even beyond a deity. So with deities, it can be like kind of explained. Okay, this ability, Thor, like he's Odin's son. He's the son of a god. So he gets those powers.
And then in the Marvel Universe, the one that is, the untouchable and unimaginable force will be the one above all. And that is
Stan Lee?
No, the one above all is the comic book Marvel Universe, not cinematic, but Marvel Universe in the comics depiction of the all-powerful godlike figure of the universe. The one above all.
That's the name, is one above all?
Yeah.
Oh.
But then where did he come from?
Exactly. It's incomprehensible.
Well,
yeah.
Does he have his own comic book?
I don't have that. I have.
It's called Spider-Man.
I have knowledge from a list I've seen one time. So I was on a list one time of them.
You are worthless.
I am. I think if you wanted to look up list of Omega class mutants, I think you might find it on there. I don't know. It'll list it even stronger.
I don't Google weird things like that.
I do, and I'm sorry.
So examples of kind of each of these that I came up with sorcery, of course, Doctor Strange, Wong, things of that source. Sorcerer Supreme is even the title that Wong was given after one of the movies, maybe the first Doctor Strange, I think,
after Stephen blipped in Infinity War. During the blip, Wong inherited Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, that's what it was. And with witchcraft, Scarlet Witch, also very relevant to what's going on right now, at least in the MCU. And of course, these also deal in actual physical comic books too. The occult, which I mentioned earlier, which is the knowledge of the hidden or the paranormal, Constantine and Madame Xanadu are examples for that. A lot of these are DC, just because I have a lot. I know Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch are Marvel, but a lot of these, with my own personal knowledge with DC, is more prevalent in my mind. But
I know nothing about DC magic.
Yeah, you shut up. We're getting to you.
I know
We're
nothing.
getting to you. You're next, actually.
Yay!
So yeah, Madame Xanadu, a lot of times she even uses like tarot cards and stuff to tap into this occult style magic, to where not only reading futures and reading things like that is what she's doing, she's actually using a magic to have some type of influence and things. And Constantine, when he deals in a lot of this occult kind of stuff, it's kind of the way magic is used most of the time, where there's a cost in using magic. Like that's something that's a little different from the other styles of abilities from, beyond magic, is when magic is involved, there's usually a cost somehow.
Yeah.
And Constantine runs into that kind of stuff all the time. Then there's deity style magic. First on the list, Shazam, of course, and those deities being...
Do I have to name them?
Yes, just do it real quick. Just show off.
Because it also pulls from occult knowledge as well, because you've got the Wisdom of Solomon, which the Wisdom of Solomon provides him with all of the occult knowledge that goes along with him being all-knowing. So that's the S in Shazam. H is Hercules. That's going to be his massive strength, where it comes from. You've got the A, stamina of Atlas, which is going to give him, the ability to be immortal, basically, and to be able to shoulder the weight of the world, much like my left shoulder tattoo. If you go to the Z, that's going to be the power of Zeus. So all of his lightning abilities, his interdimensional travel, which could allow Shazam to appear in multiple universes, even in the Marvel universe sometimes. Then you've got A again for the courage of Achilles, his battle tactics, one of the greatest warriors of all history. He inherits that ability from him. And M is the speed of Mercury. Mercury is the god that created the speed force. So even when it comes down to the Flash being the fastest character in the DC universe, Shazam is still able to tap into that direct source of the speed force and be faster than him. Just briefly, but he can.
That's probably a really good example, too, of a character that was just kind of named, and then later on they kind of develop these, well, Z could be for Zeus, and then what about S, and let's go find somebody, you know?
No, Shazam was Shazam from the damn get-go.
Like, and they had all that planned behind it already.
His name was Captain Marvel, and then, of course, issues between Marvel, DC, and then Fawcett Comics. So there was a whole lot of legal stuff going on, and then changed it to just the name Shazam. But yeah, the acronym was always there. Yeah. That's kind of
so he's got multiple gods influencing his power.
Just like Black Adam has multiple gods. I don't have them memorized because the Greek mythology gods are the ones that are powering Shazam. Black Adam is actually powered by the gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that the Black Adam movie is going to be a little bit different, because you look at Shazam and it's a little bit more lighthearted. Those Greek mythological figures are a little bit easier to understand. And you look at like the more dark side of stuff and you think of like Egyptian gods and all the things that they were capable of and people sacrificed for and everything else like this. So they're a little bit of a darker tint to him, and that's also why Black Adam has a darker spin to him.
Well, he also has influence from more gods, because Black Adam is much longer than Shazam.
Actually,
I assume that his name is an acronym as well.
His actual
it's also Shazam.
Yes, yeah. His power is also activated by Shazam, but he had a different hero name.
Whatever.
Yeah. And speaking of Egypt, like that's when we get Moon Knight, which is also something that's very relevant to right now with the TV show on Disney Plus, with the Egyptian god Khonshu giving Moon Knight his basically magical abilities, because without Khonshu, he is just a dude and, well, with multiple personality stuff going on. But anyway. And then, of course, Loki, Ghost Rider, we already mentioned. The Spectre is crazy what all he can do, and what he's almost one of those incomprehensible ones, but it fits under the deity.
He is the comic book representation of the vengeance of God.
Yeah.
The wrath of God.
Right. And Artifact, Dr. Fate, and the Helm of Fate. Is it Helm of Fate, right?
No, it's got
a few different names. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a different name to it as well.
Dr. Fate has a helmet that is where he draws all of his powers from, all of his magic. Worded spells, Zatanna from DC, she says all of her spells in reverse of the way they are spelled out. So if you're watching the DC Justice League Dark movie and you put on the subtitles and you pause it, you can read all of them backwards and see all the stuff, all the spells she's saying, and can see what she's actually saying in reverse.
We had to download an app for this at the time, but we actually recorded what it was saying on that app, then played it backwards. Also, it's called the Helmet of Nabu, or Dr. Fate helmet.
Right. Many names.
Yes.
So Zatanna, Marcus, you've got a look. So if I were to say levitate Marcus, like as a spell, I would be saying it in reverse. I would have to verbalize that in reverse for it to actually happen.
So
which is really
Suckram,
we might have to experiment on that later in another episode.
And Elemental, being Swamp Thing, he connects with the green, which is all of plant life.
Yeah, man.
And then Incomprehensible, which is where Neil Gaiman's Dream and the Endless come into play, because they predate even gods themselves, because the gods are created by mortal belief, and the Endless predate mortals. So it's just a couple of examples of all those different things.
You forgot one of the biggest examples.
Please tell me.
Incomprehensible powers. Batman.
It is incomprehensible.
His magic is incomprehensible.
Well, that's part of this conversation too, because you've got someone like Scarlet Witch. If she were to go up against, I don't know, Black Widow. If Black Widow were there instead of Doctor Strange to take on Scarlet Witch, there's nothing there's nothing she could do. Nothing. And so magic is so powerful and so potent.
You know,
there's so much to talk about when it comes to magic in this world. because I wanted to talk about magic and how it relates to comics and outside of comics, but it's like already time to move on. So I can't do that right now. That's going to have to be a conversation we have at another day.
Well, no,
We're doing a trilogy.
I think you can throw in on my topic because I'm talking about synthetic biology, and I'm a moron, and I don't know anything about biology.
Me too.
So, but these types of like technologies and things that are being developed today, they're going to influence the world we live in, yes, but they're also going to influence fiction. I mean, just like they always have. And a lot of scientists grow up on this type of fiction, and it inspires them to investigate new fields of study and things like that. So feel free to throw in with the magical talk, because this type of magic is called synthetic biology as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
But basically, synthetic biology are experiments with DNA and modifies organisms to create new life forms. One of the biggest names in this field is a guy named Craig Venture, and he is basically the guy that decoded the human genome, which is like all the genetic material that is stored in our body, in our cells. And so in about 2010, the first artificial life is like actually created, and it's like they took like an entire bacterium genome, synthesized a DNA molecule on a computer, and introduced it into like another cell. And then that produced what they called Cynthia, which was the first living organism, but they made it to where they could not reproduce.
Such a good name.
Little on the nose,
Yeah,
ain't
because
it?
it's a synthetic organism.
Oh, yeah. That's a perfect name.
Glad they made it female so they didn't have to think of something for synth with a guy's name.
I'm glad it was a pun. Marcus.
You know what?
You need to appreciate
I'll give them a
this.
pass in this area. They're doing bigger things. But yeah, he's been kind of controversial figure, but the implications of something like this would be like things like making biofuel from algae, making electricity from bacteria, and obviously it helps like with synthetic vaccines and things of that nature. But it's just some of the most cutting edge stuff, and it's just really cool. Eventually they're going to create life forms that can help clean the planet, produce more food and clothing, and all be eco-friendly and like be really healthy for the environment. I don't know. It's just really kind of inspiring. Like it's something, because we live in a lot of doom and gloom times, but things like this not only make you excited for things of the future, but it's like it also, gives my brain this little creative dose and, makes me think of things like you're talking about, like magic and stuff. Like this is like so far advanced that it's kind of indistinguishable, especially when we get to some of these later examples I can kind of pull from. But what were you going to say?
Because that was even 2010, right? Where Cynthia,
right?
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So the span of 12 years,
right?
There's a lot that can happen from
There's a movie called Idiocracy.
Yes.
And the thing about that movie is that it is so shockingly accurate on stuff that it's scary. But it's people will eventually develop this kind of technology. But there could be a shift and a turning point to where the populace is outnumbered. You got the smarties and you've got the chest beating dum-dums, and what if it all gets balanced out that way, and then the biogenetic, like the synthetic biology that's produced, the world's limitless supply of energy drink, and now they're feeding it to the crops because it's what plants crave.
Well, they call that the dual use problem. Like I'm putting air quotations up because I'm not exactly sure if that's the correct term, but something to the effect of like, yes, it's all great, but couldn't that also be used to like kill us all?
Like, have you never seen I Am Legend?
But and like there is that kind of moral, ethical kind of argument around it at the moment. It's like, do we have the right to take up evolution and natural selection into our own hands and use it for the benefit of humankind? And
screw around and find out.
Are we about to take up the power of the gods? Like what in the world? Like how weird is it that we live in a time like this? I mean, because right now, let me just bring us back to a little bit of reality here. But because we're talking about corn is normally like fertilized with really harmful chemicals. But this company, Ginkgo Bioworks is what they're called. They're developing these things. They're a coating for the corn seed that will actually just fertilize itself. Things like that. There's this competition that they run every year called like iGym. And it's where all these students, high school and college, get together and compete on and design organisms to kind of try to meet the needs of the future of our human race.
That's awesome.
A deworming potatoes stuff. Bacteria. I don't know what.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. It's awesome.
Can they manufacture an organism that'll love me?
Eventually, probably.
Whoever
But
does
they
it
already
gets an
have.
A.
They already have. We're right here, Tony.
Yeah.
Aw.
What do you
Here
mean?
we are.
And that wasn't science, that was fate.
Wow.
No, I was designed by a high school student.
Well, also, we've got great chemistry.
Yeah. Well, and just the realm of medicine, and all that. Some of the students created a biosensor that could detect smells like gas leaks and other pollutants.
Don't
So
get it
just
near
like-
me.
That's awesome.
It'll just biosense things that we don't want or we need to be aware of.
Can it sense farts?
That's a gas.
Definitely.
I'm sure they could invent that. Yeah.
Because
Methane alert.
But
look, I need
here's-
something that goes off every time somebody farts.
Yeah. So, and in the future, they see like that trees that like grow themselves into like little tables and benches for us to sit on.
Because you can design the code
the
in
bio. Yeah.
to grow that shape.
Right.
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 Yeah.
What?
And they're thinking it's going to be a boom, much like the internet boom.
I
with, like,
planted
these
that
kinds of-
table 3 years ago, and it's still just a coffee table. I'm waiting for it to turn into a dining room table.
Yeah. There's been a dating app that matches couples based on their DNA. Yeast is learning how to defeat malaria. Bacteria turning carbon dioxide into fuel. Stuff like that. But I have this particular example, and I really, really tried hard to find more examples that were as cool as this one, but they're not.
Yeah.
The spider goats.
What?
Has anybody ever heard of
Oh, yeah.
spider goats?
Yep.
It better not be a spider the size of a goat.
And this is a little
Ish.
different. This is genetically modifying, so I guess it's maybe not technically synthetic.
It's
Do you
more
like kissing
splicing.
cousins?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more genetic splicing
Yeah.
between two
They
different species.
splice a DNA, just a very particular gene from spiders into a goat, making it a completely unique sequence or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now that protein would be in the goat's milk, to where when you milk the goat, now you have spider silk
What?
in their milk.
Yep.
And then from there, you can produce clothes, all kinds of things. And like they're talking about making like these high effective, like think of a car frame made out of like spider silk, some sort of biotech spider silk,
Yeah.
that when they smash into each other, just absorb the hit and nobody is hurt.
Oh my!
You see what I'm saying? Like, and
That's
think about,
awesome.
and so here's a great example. We were talking about Spider-Man being magic earlier. So think about how just something like that in our culture today would influence our fiction around Spider-Man.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Like his suit would be made of spider silk, right?
Yes,
wouldn't
it
his
would.
suit just be made because he's a scientist?
I
so
could
he
have
would
one
be
of
he could make it himself, but he would know how to make it from spider silk.
It's coming to the point where one day I could have a spider silk Spider-Man suit.
Right.
If I can get a hold of one of these goats.
Yeah.
I just don't like the name
No.
Spider Goat.
No.
Their names are
Spider
Sugar
goat,
and Spice, by the
spider
way.
goat.
just
Does whatever a spider goat does. Can't swing
because
from a web.
the-
No, it can't. It's a spider goat. You're dumb. Look at the spider goat.
I'm worried that they would think that the goat's production wouldn't be enough because they would develop it. They think that, oh my gosh, this is so much better than the amount you get from the spider, da-da-da. And then they're like, but next, it's spider cow. And I can imagine this world going to hell in a spider cow infested apocalypse. It's 8-legged spiders the size of cows, and instead of roaring when they open their fangs, they go. That's my nightmare now, Marcus. It used to be nippleless boobs, but now it is that.
Well, just think, we can't get to, because
Cows have nippleless boobs.
if you really wanted to, you could milk me if you wanted to, Austin. So if we go from Spider Cow to
That can have
Spider-Man,
several
I could
connotations.
be Spider-Man, but we need the Spider Cow after the Spider Goat.
You got to be born that
Spider
way.
cow.
No,
man.
you don't.
You do. They genetically modify you from birth.
They'll be able to make it into a
Potion.
suppository.
I don't want that.
It's got to be a suppository. It's where the silk comes from.
Just give me an intramuscular injection, and then all of a
No.
sudden I'm just superhuman again. You know,
No.
I say again because this isn't a dream this time.
This is the blending, though, of the fictitious comic book world
Yes.
and reality.
Right. Well, and think, years off too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like because some of this is years off, but some of it's happening right now. Like they're having this competition every year, and it's growing every year.
It's not even the baby stage anymore. Like this is toddler stage. Like this is working its way up because we've already got the basis of a lot of this stuff.
Biotechnology, things like that.
Yeah.
Look, I've got a question, and I feel like this is a question that needs answered, and it's probably the most important question.
Can any of us answer it? Or is this just into the ether?
It's kind of into the ether.
Okay.
What kind of cheese would a spider goat make? Would it be delicious?
It would be silky smooth, Tiny.
It would be.
Would it stop me?
You could eat it. You could definitely eat it.
Stupid people. It would make string cheese.
Yeah, silky string cheese.
No, it's just a protein in the milk, and then from there they extract it to make the silk.
So it's not just milky webs like popping out. Like
Correct. No, just milk and drinkable milk, as far as they know.
The wine you choose to have with it will have to have legs, is what they call with wine. Yeah, which
would have to be red.
You know that exactly. So,
yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, one day they will be able to make just everybody in the world a superhero, and then we can all just battle it out.
But then nobody's super.
Exactly,
man.
But you know who the best prepared to be super would be?
Me.
The ones who listen to this podcast.
Ooh.
Because we're giving them all the knowledge along the way.
Mm-hmm.
True.
To be able to be ready when this genetically modified shot or treatment or whatever it is comes our way. Well, I thought it would be through technological advances on episode 1. I thought by this point I would have my Neuralink, but Elon, he's got more important things to worry about, like Twitter, and not my Neuralink. I need it. But no, I'm not going to get that. But maybe in the future, we can all be super together. And it's up to us to lead the people in the proper usage of superpowers.
Yes. Well, now our listeners, when they're driving by the Tractor Supply and they see the back of the truck with a sign written, probably in incorrect spelling, on cardboard that says "Free Spider Goat," you're not going to question it. You're going to get it. You're going to hop out, take Spider Goat home with you, and then next comes Spider Cow. Of course, we've already gone over this.
Unless you're my dad, then you'll roll down the window and you'll roll down the window of the car and you'll say, "What that goat get arrested for?"
Spider Goat.
Free Spider Goat.
Free Spider Goat. It was a free joke. Not a spider joke.
Hate that.
Okay.
He's done that for tomatoes. He said, "What did tomatoes do wrong?" He's a legend in his own mind.
I mean, look, that is the daddest of dad jokes.
Oh, jeez. Thank you, Marcus, for letting me actually have hope that I will one day become the Spider-Man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Funny enough, my topic ties into magic.
Oh, magic.
And the incomprehensible. So my topic is it's a recently discovered thing by me.
You discovered it.
I discovered it. I didn't know it existed. That's what I mean by I discovered it. It's called bizarro genre or bizarro fiction.
Mm-hmm.
I found out about it from a meme, and I'm like, there's no way that book actually exists. But it does, and I have a copy, and I will read an excerpt from it. But first, I got to describe to you what bizarro genre is. It is a contemporary literary genre which often uses elements of absurdism, satire, and the grotesque, along with pop surrealism and genre fiction staples in order to create weird, entertaining, and subversive works. The term was adopted in 2005 by the independent...
It's the pitch day.
By the independent publishing companies Eraserhead Press, Raw Dog Screaming Press, and Afterbirth Books.
What?
Raw Dog Screaming.
You heard that. You heard it exactly as it says.
I didn't hear it.
Which one?
Dr. what?
Raw Dog Screaming Press?
The next one.
Afterbirth Books?
Yeah.
Much of its community revolves around Eraserhead Press, which is based in Portland, Oregon, and has hosted the annual Bizarro Con since 2008. Blah, blah, blah. You want to read more? Go to the mother source. So that brings us to the book that I found. I'm going to read you some of his other titles before I get into this one.
Okay.
Because he has written many. And for $5, I acquired this book, and it's signed by the author. It's worth every penny. His name is Carlton Mellick III.
Of course.
He has written such elevated titles as Satan Burger, Electric Jesus Corpse, Sunset with a Beard, which is a book of short stories.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
Razor Wire Pubic Hair.
Now I'm upset.
Teeth and Tongue Landscape. The Steel Breakfast Era. The Menstruating Mall.
Like MAUL, like Darth Maul?
MALL,
Oh,
like,
okay.
like
Okay.
shopping mall.
All right. Never mind then. That's something different. I was thinking.
Ocean of Lard. Punkland.
I like that.
That one's-
Sex and Death in Television Town. Sea of the Patchwork Cats.
Punkland
And-
is underwhelming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
The author's note in the beginning of the book, where they usually do like thanks and stuff and quotes. His is I miss Andre the Giant. That was recorded on June 19th, 2006 at 1:26 p.m.
Is that what he signed?
Yes.
Did he sign just I miss Andre the Giant?
No, that's just the author's notes. Not like it's not like how some books have an author's note. At the
Okay,
beginning.
gotcha.
So he
Where they're
published
like,
that in
thanks.
every one.
I don't know.
No.
Just a couple of.
Ha ha ha, what a delicious segment. I am Enevaparg, and I have scoured the intersource for moments such as this. I have consumed your content and you will never taste its grape juices. Thank you, grapes. I am satiated once more and will continue my tirade through the pod realm. I look forward to your future sacrifices in my name. See you on the flip side. Idiots.
You see, the Bizarro is I think it's even possibly copyrighted by DC for the like Bizarro character in Bizarro World.
This has one Z.
Oh, that's how they got around
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Well, I
okay.
mean, it's it's not really them getting around it because it's classified as its own genre. There are many authors that write in this. It's just characterized by, satire and the grotesque and things like
Right.
that. So it's supposed to be cringy, and you cannot
Right.
tell me that wasn't cringy.
Oh, very.
Oh, absolutely.
However,
very. Like,
also
not
entertaining.
even.
Yeah, the first of it was funny.
Yeah, and then it just got to the point like, okay, it's just
When you get into some of the following chapters, it mellows out. Like it started talking about how they met on a bus and it was all cutesy. So it's not just page after page, chapter after chapter of that, but that kind of
But it
sets
should
the
be.
scene for all that.
because it's bad. Like it's weird because it's like the movies we've talked about in the past, like those, like what were they called? The
Like
what was
the
it?
Mockbusters.
Mockbusters. Thank you. See, Mockbusters do something like that, but it's all like they have to stay going hard like the whole time, because if you let off the gas and you get like to the point where I was like, this is just bad and boring now. Like that's when you've gone away from this is a great work of satire to you had a funny idea and you went way too far with it.
Well, and I saw one that was like meth heads and like club goers and like, I don't know, like I get like the genre in a sense. Like it's, it has all the same kind of tropes and stuff of like the fiction that we like.
Yeah.
But it's just more bizarre and like kind of over the top
Yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
written in a different way.
It's like they tried to find a lot of like the worst parts of certain stories. Like, what's the grittiest part of this story? What's the bad? Now, how do we make that the foundation for the whole genre? Which is really interesting. But I think like that's got to be hard to do. Like to do that because it's already got to be hard to make
Well, I mean,
a mock,
it's
make
supposed
a mockbuster.
to be shocking. You
Oh,
know?
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
There's like a whole genre of films that are exclusively there just to shock and startle the audience, like House of a Thousand Corpses. That's exactly what that movie
just
was.
The gruesome.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
that could technically be classified into this same genre.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's shocking and it's grotesque and you're not supposed to like it.
Yeah, and
it can be funny in places, but it's supposed to be gross.
Right.
The Hills Have Eyes is another one that's kind of like that too, by Wes Craven, where they go into like this radiated desert landscape, and all these tourists either get killed or captured and then bred into the population. It's a horror genre, and it spawned several different spin-offs.
Soylent Green.
So it's more it focuses on more like the grotesque and the like the imagery of how can I push the reader's buttons while they're reading this. And that would make sense in that book because that's exactly what they're doing. And they're trying to push your buttons on it. And it's like, how descriptive on this do I need to get just to be far enough from being trash?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, it's not smut, but almost.
It's pretty much. Like they're trying to, it's the line writing, like
right?
with magic. It's riding a line. Is it magic? Is it not?
But like I said, it's supposed to be shocking and gross. And you know,
there's this book called "Every Time We Meet at the Dairy Queen, Your Whole Fucking Face Explodes."
Gosh, just because they got ice cream cakes in stock all day.
Although she scares all the other kids in school, Ethan thinks Spiderweb is the cutest, sweetest, most perfect girl in the world. But there's a problem. Whenever they go on a date at the Dairy Queen, her whole face explodes. He's not sure why it happens. She just gets so excited that the pressure builds under her skin. Then her face bursts, spraying meat and gore across the room, her eyeballs and lips landing in his strawberry sundae.
nice.
Fantastic.
Of course, it's
I thought that was
strawberry.
funny.
I just want to know what was the beard? Beards and sunsets?
Sunset beard or something? Or sunset with a beard?
Sunset with a beard.
Sunset with a beard.
Yep.
That sounds
Delightful.
That sounds like a good poster to have in this room.
It does.
To represent all of us.
Yeah, it's like all blacked out, and then there's just a beard, and then inside the beard is a sunset, and we're doing this magical thing with our hands right
Yes,
now.
You could
if you
see
can't-
it. You could see the whole thing.
Yeah, the sun probably does have a beard
It may.
in our universe.
Okay, here's the synopsis of the Sunset with the Beard.
Okay.
A girl who can bring any object to life with her kiss. A disease that causes people to melt into rainbow swirling liquids. A world where people need to carry their souls around in little jars.
Perfect.
That sounds. And it says nothing about beards.
Nothing.
That's all I needed to know, and they won't give it to me.
Maybe she's a bearded lady.
Could be. Is it SON or SUN?
SUN.
All right.
Are you ready
No.
for the greatest journey of your nerd lives?
Now I am.
Then welcome to Nerdflation! Nerdflation is a game show where you, nerds, get to pick which one of the items is of the highest value from the archives of nerd culture. I did a little bit of research. Here's a sidebar from the character. That all these different, I call them nerd artifacts, have sold for in the past. It's crazy to see the amount of money that we will spend on the things that we love. And sometimes nerds have money, and they will not be ashamed to spend it the way that they want to spend it. Disclaimer here ready. Prices of some items may seem unrealistic. They are. Some nerds have money and spend it on things they love. Megabucks are worth 2 points in these rounds. So if I ever say that something is worth a megabucks, that means
I'll be the scorekeeper, so
I've
we can
been
actually.
supposed to been listening to the rules.
no.
Is there rules?
No.
Okay.
No, just
Basically, it's
We vroom in, right?
he'll tell us when we win.
yes. What happens is we will vroom in as we do,
Okay.
and I will read you a little bit about what's going on with my question. In this first one, we call it Race to the Cave. Of these two artifacts from Batman Past, the 1989 Batmobile or the 1960s Batmobile, which one is the most expensive?
Vroom.
89. I didn't vroom.
60s.
Tiny, you are the winner of that point.
Knew it.
The Batmobile from the 1960s sold at Barrett-Jackson auction for $4.62 million.
Dollars?
What? And that's just one from the show?
That is
Because they had multiple ones, right? I mean, they have to.
that it was the original that was used for the promo shots for the show's car.
The first one ever shown on screen.
The car.
Jeez.
That's weird.
Also, the 1989 Batmobile with the turbine-driven engine down the middle of it actually does exist, and they are actually produced. And for $1 million doll hairs, you can get one in Russia.
That's nothing.
Well, the
One's
Michael
nothing.
Keaton one has actually been built by a guy here in America. He loved it. He had a jet engine sitting around, so he's like, I'm going to make that Batmobile, and it's amazing.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can make one for cheaper than you can go to Russia and buy one.
That's
I
probably
don't think it was cheap.
I don't think so. I don't,
yeah, he probably didn't just find the jet engine.
I
did he?
mean, we're talking like an airplane jet engine.
This next section is called Rebel Scub. For sale.
Okay.
The original R2-D2 or Darth Vader's helmet from Empire Strikes Back.
Broom,
Tiny.
R2-D2.
R2-D2 is the winner.
It has to be.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more there, right?
$2.76 million for R2-D2 and $889,000 for the Darth Vader.
The helmet didn't even make a mill.
Nope.
The wrong people are bidding for these things.
I mean, most people want to buy like things of the hero. You know what I mean?
I don't
So
know.
It makes sense to
and
me
he's,
that
and he's
R2
cool for the
is
kids
be more-
too. Like
Yeah.
R2's a hit with the kids.
I
So.
guess, yeah. And you could get in that R2 because it was
mostly
piloted.
Yeah.
But
That's
any
a-
kid that would
that's
try
true.
would get screamed at by all the adults and say, "Get away from that!"
Oh, I would
Do you
those,
have any
spray
idea?
bottles.
Do you have any idea? It's worth more than your life.
He was just reading Todd Mcfarlane.
That's his getaway. That's his hidey hole.
You wouldn't let him read no more Todd McFarlane, and now he done crawled in your R2 unit. Speaking of that, ours is running a little low on coolant.
Tiny's in the lead. We need some. What'd you call them? Bucks?
Megabucks.
Megabucks.
Double-
we
double
need
points.
megabucks now.
We're off to Poe the Wizard. Which one sold for more? The original pair of ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz, or the Cowardly Lion's costume?
Vroom.
Broom.
Broom.
Marcus,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Slippers.
it's got to be slippers.
totally.
you are all incorrect.
What?
What?
The original set of ruby slippers sold for $2 million.
Okay.
They were rubies.
The Cowardly Lion suit, the original, sold for $3.07 million
What? Why?
because it was made from real lion's hair.
You didn't tell me that.
Wow.
It was made from real lion's hair. None of it was made synthetic. It was all from a lion. It's collected individual
Aw.
strands of fur. Its
Yes.
mane, every bit of it was made of lion's
And it
fur.
still looked bad.
It did.
Poor
It
lions.
looked worse than a fake one would.
Yeah. The assholes.
Sometimes
man.
just because you can be authentic doesn't mean you should.
This next one is called Inspiring Your Wallets.
Okay.
The lyrics to Like a Rolling Stone for Bob Dylan, or John Lennon's Imagine Piano.
Vroom.
Go.
Imagine.
Vroom.
Dane is correct.
Damn it.
Ah!
You want to know by how much? You're going to find out.
Was that megabucks?
The lyrics sold for $2 million.
Okay.
The piano sold
Oh.
for $2.1 million.
Barely
Very
beat it.
close race on that one.
The lyrics? Wait. The piano that was used to write it
Mm-hmm.
and the words on the paper.
Yep.
Are you talking about the original written lyrics where he wrote it?
Yes.
Okay, that makes some sense.
Yeah, okay.
And that
Yeah.
also got you the copyright to the song because you own the bass form.
That's
of
how
it.
that works?
That in that instance, yes, it did. You own the song.
I didn't realize that.
But
I'm just glad I guessed right.
it's time for Megabucks.
Dadgummit. The last one wasn't.
That's like 12 stadium beers. Mark McGuire's 70th home run ball, or Babe Ruth's jersey.
I would say the Babe's jersey.
Yeah, that's probably what I'd say too.
You're correct. Oddly enough,
God, megabucks too.
And I don't even
before
like
the
baseballs.
before the decline of Mark McGuire, as soon as he had won that record, and that ball became available for sale, it was purchased by somebody. Comic book author Todd Mcfarlane.
No.
He is the owner of the now 1/4 of its worth, $3 million Mark McGwire 70th home run ball.
The guy who wrote Spawn?
That Todd Mcfarlane. He got the home run ball, but it ain't worth shit now.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
How did
What
you
a
do that?
strange, sad web we weave.
Did
So,
anybody
yeah.
win? Did Tiny get that again?
Of course he got it again on the Mega Bucks. He's got 2 more of them.
Marcus, you have nothing, so you're losing.
That's okay. I'm having a good time.
This next one is called Will It Kill? It's the Battle of the Blades. Luke Skywalker's original...
Whoa.
Hold on, let me
Hey.
smack my soul.
Who's that?
I mispronounce his name.
Is he the evil twin?
Luke Skywalker's original lightsaber. Or Aragorn's sword.
Vroom. Lightsaber.
Oh,
Duh.
easy.
Barely.
Mm.
By less than
Makes me happy.
$20,000.
These are like the,
The
easiest
lightsaber.
questions in the world.
$450,000 to $437,000.
It turns out secretively Tiny's been buying all these objects, so he knows exactly how much
I
they're
Google
worth.
I Google intensely.
This next one's called Goofballs. Buddy the Elf's original costume or Wilson from Castaway?
Vroom. Wilson.
Tiny wins another point.
I'm so good at this.
Dadgummit! Why am I even keeping score?
Spooky deals. The Alien Chestburster or the Ghostbusters Proton Pack?
Boom.
Vroom. Dang it.
Dane.
Proton pack.
Dane gets a point.
Yes. You were all going to say that too, weren't you?
No.
No.
You're both going to go with the other one?
Yeah.
Oh, man. They get
Oh.
negative points just for admitting it.
No.
Yep.
That's not how that works.
We're tied now, Tiny. I'm the scorekeeper.
That is not how
It's
that
time
works.
for another Mega Bucks.
Here we go.
Ain't you pretty and you can sing? Sound of Music, Do Re Mi outfits. Do, a deer, the ones they all wore in that scene.
I don't know what that looks like.
Or Dorothy's dress from The Wizard of Oz.
Vroom. I would say The Sound of Music, Lederhosen.
It is a later
Vroom.
hosen, isn't it?
The other one.
Marcus.
Yeah, I got Mega
Marcus.
Bucks.
Like that.
Marcus by
I'm on the
proxy.
board.
Marcus
I'm
by,
on the board.
That's by
Was that made from a
classified
real deer too?
elimination. I don't think he should. I don't think he should get a point at all.
Marcus gets 2 points because that was a Mega Bucks.
Was that a real deer too that they made it out of?
Marcus, shut up. How come you can't say puns if you can't take puns?
Wait, it's not a pun, is it?
Doe,
That's
a
a
deer,
pun.
a female deer. Just the outfits being
You
made, just like
totally
the line.
said a
You
pun.
tied it all together, brother. You're amazing. I can't believe you shit on yourself so much.
We're tied now.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I hope you're ready because this next one, Scrap Metal Mega Bucks. The original T-800 model used in Terminator 2 or the General Lee Dodge Charger?
Vroom. The General Lee.
Ooh.
It has to be the General Lee.
Vroom, the other one.
Dane
Yay!
gets 2 points.
We should have
Are
done a
you
voting
kidding me?
system.
By
we shouldn't
third-
have done a vroom system. We should have done a voting system.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you kidding me? The T-800.
by
The
$33,000.
General Lee.
I
By-
can drive.
You can drive the General Lee.
By
And you can
$33,000.
jump things with the General
I'm
Lee.
just saying.
I can scare away the neighbor's children with the T100.
So this next one is referred to as "You Believe a Clever Girl Can Fly." A full-scale Velociraptor or the Superman the movie original costume.
Superman is gonna outdo a
No.
dinosaur any day.
Velociraptor.
No.
All day, son.
Superman costume by $3,000.
Whoa, that's really close.
By
The man
that's
sweated
why.
in that.
Yep.
That's gross.
All right, this one's gonna be hard for y'all boys. This next one referred to as Power.
Oh, that's not good.
That's
not
gonna
good.
be bleak.
This is that's good. That's not gonna make it.
Who's-
That's not making it.
Whose original wizard staff made it on the highest bid between Saruman's and Gandalf?
Vroom.
It's
Gandalf.
gotta be
Duh.
Gandalf. It has to be.
Obviously.
390,000. Yes, and the other one was 125,000.
See, not even close. No one even knows how to spell Saruman.
I just it was too good because they're both the white wizards.
Not in the beginning.
Yeah, one of them was gray.
When it counts. I'm sorry. Doc, you made a flying... Chitty Chitty Bang Bang flying car from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, or the screen used Back to the Future DMC.
DeLorean.
It's got to be.
It
Nobody gives a
better be
shit
the
about Chitty Chitty
DeLorean.
Bang Bang.
Chitty.
Everybody says DeLorean, and it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty chitty lick my butthole.
I bet it would be Chitty Chitty.
They need to redo that one today.
It is.
They need to sell it back and rematch.
Now, if y'all would have waited, it was the one used in Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh, see,
Marcus.
Because
they always beat me to the room.
Everybody's jumping, and I did that for a reason.
That's
and
why
I'm
in the
sorry.
lead. I know these questions, even though I've been wrong on like
I'm
4 of them.
sorry that I'm sorry that I worded it the way that I did. I just expected.
We
by
need
this
buzzers
point-
on this show, apparently.
Yeah.
That's only swirling around dead things. The Ultra Bucks secret question
Ultra Bucks? How much is that worth?
worth 5 points.
So I got to get this one.
You
I gotta
have to
win.
get this one. Okay, just so we see what's at stake here. If Marcus gets it, he ties you for the win.
Okay.
If you get it, you win every game show from here on out because you're that far ahead. And if I get it, I win just this one. So it's a lot's at stake here. We have to let the whole thing come out.
I will give it.
I will agree to that. Did both you gentlemen agree to that?
I agree, gentlemen's agreement. We will let the whole question release from his
If
mouth.
you've room before he's done, you forfeit your chance.
Yes. Along
These-
with the next game show.
The screen-worn Marilyn Monroe dress from the iconic scene in The 7-Year Itch. You know where the grape flies
No.
up.
Oh, that one.
Where the gas blows up and it blows up her chest. And
That was
Yeah,
from a movie?
yeah, The 7-Year Itch.
Oh, I thought it was an ad.
Or Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet.
Vroom. Marilyn Monroe dress.
Did you finish the question?
Yes.
Damn it.
I'm going to pause to see if he stopped.
I said
Obviously your
I said-
dress.
The last thing I have written is Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet. Honestly, I paired these two together for a reason.
Okay, why?
Because they are the two most expensive artifacts of nerd history
What?
in cinematic props and stuff that like we've seen on screen. And oh my god, we want that. Those are the two most expensive.
Stop stalling.
How?
Robbie the Robot is not the winner. $5.6 million for that dress. And $5.37 million for Robbie the Robot.
No one spent over $5 million on anything from Star Wars?
Nope. None of the big
I find
props.
that hard to believe.
Yep.
That's crazy. Oh, that's because I guess they haven't sold like Luke's
Now,
land speeder or
in
something.
my research, and I hate for actual scientists and people that do research to hear what I do, and I call it research. But in my research, I found that a lot of these original things are owned by the people that helped to produce the products. They're the ones who helped put them into actual, into works. The original producer for the Batman movie that came out with that turbine engine driven car, that original one's not for sale. It's actually owned by the producer.
So how do they so they can't put a value on it, right? Because it wasn't purchased?
They can't put a value on that actual one. Same thing with the original DeLorean. That's why the original DeLorean was not for sale. Owned by the same guy. He was also a producer from the movie.
The same guy owns the DeLorean and the Batmobile?
Yes. The real ones, not any of them
Yeah.
fakes or them second hands. That's the right from the source, the original.
I'm in the wrong business. I need to be producing movies.
I don't know if any of our stuff. Now we've got some grape lights on the side of this room right here that could fetch a pretty penny at a thrift store. If they knew it was from this podcast, it would that
Right.
And a total of, how many points was that worth? 5?
Yep.
Tiny.
Yep.
12 points. I didn't
Nice.
even know 12 points were available in the entire game,
That's right.
but you've done it.
I had a grape time.
And I hope everyone listening to this episode had a great time with Nerd It Through the Grapevine on Spotify and iTunes and on CastBox and on Audible and on Good Pods. Good Pods is really great, by the way, for indie podcasts because you can push a little slider and it makes only indie podcasts pop up whenever you're searching for stuff. And we're now in the top 50 of society and culture on Good Pods, by the way. We went from top 100 last time to top 50. I believe we were 48 the last time I checked.
You should see us stroking our beards.
Yes. Stroking each other's beards. We have our arms to the right, and we're stroking each other's beards right now.
Society has devolved very quickly.
Very fast.
Idiocracy was true.
They even have a 5-star system there as well as a ratings, as a like comment section and stuff too. Like on iTunes and Spotify has just the 5-star option. But give 5 stars wherever you're at and give a description. If you hated us, you can also give 5 stars and give a description. So do that and then go to Teespring, and the link is in the description of the episode. You can buy t-shirts and put us on you and wear us around all the time. And there's even a fanny pack. And then if you're wearing it around, somebody goes, "Hey man, what's in your fanny pack?" You go, "You should see it. It's wild."
And if you wanted to discuss just how Black Widow would seduce the Scarlet Witch to solve this problem of who's going to win in this fight one-on-one, all you got to do is get on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by looking up @NerdGrapevine, or get on Patreon if you want to donate a little bit to the cause, and you will get a shiny holographic sticker with Nerded Through the Grapevine logo on there and be able to access future material that you haven't heard on air. And if you want to get that, it would be at bestfriends.tinyink. And, whatever you do, just don't make a really good setup for the guy to use next to you, because that's going to make you upset and cause you a little bit of...
Discord. Find us on Discord. There's memes. We're on there. There's a link in the description. Check us out.
Do it.
And we've reached that time of the episode where I can't remember who to ask.
808. Actually, it just changed.
Dane?
I will put them up against the Marilyn Monroe dress. And we are going to be the top-selling grape nerd item ever to exist, ever.
But that's a white dress, and you just ruined it with grape stains.
Exactly. It's worth more now. It's been tainted with nerd stank. Oh.
It probably already did
I don't
upon
like
purchase.
the sound of that. Oh, I don't...